What's up? I was in a video that said moving to Miami, and I believe her name is Like Fior. I probably said that wrong, so yeah. Saying there are any good places in Miami to live, and I used to live in South Florida, and I'm getting ready to move back to South Florida. Well, I plan on moving to Miami. However, if I now take my teenage son with me, because I got the phone call where it's like I'm tired of living with mom. I want to come and live with you. Needless to say, I cannot move to Miami. I'd have to move to a suburb. So I'd have to move to a suburb somewhere just a little bit north. Like for those of you that know South Florida, probably somewhere like Deerfield Beach or Pompano, or something I could even deal with Fort Lauderdale or somewhere up in there. But that kind of got me to thinking about moving to a new place because I probably have a little bit more experience at it than the average person. I've lived in uh, Mesa, Arizona, which is right outside of Phoenix, which is right next to, it's where what Arizona State University is. I've lived in South Florida. I lived in Atlanta. Of course, I'm from Chicago. And I was getting ready to move out to Los Angeles, so I have a few friends that are out there. The one thing that everybody else, and I don't know where everybody is from here, but I think a pretty good advantage that I had coming from Chicago and the surrounding suburbs is that the amount of rent that I paid here is comparable to most major cities. So that's one thing that you guys want to think about. Obviously there's a whole job thing, so I guess this is my little video on helping you move to a new place. I guess the first thing that you want to do is probably figure out where you're going to work and where your place is in relationship to where you work, which I guess should be obvious to some people, but to some people it may not be. Well, I guess the second thing that I look for, I don't want to make this into a list, I guess, but I guess it's going to be. The second thing that I kind of look for is I look for public transportation. Yes, I have a car, but when you're living in Chicago, you don't need a car. If you were living in New York City, you would need a car. LA, you're going to need a car. South Florida, in Miami, yeah, you'll need a car. But I have, as a friend who lives out in Los Angeles, he's a comic book artist, and he said, I don't have a car in LA. And I'm like, how do you do that? He said, because where I live, I'm in walking distance of every single thing that I will ever need. So that's another little pointer there. Move someplace where you can get out and go walk. Move next to a grocery store. Well, not next to it, but you know what I'm saying. Somewhere where you can just kind of walk around the corner and get your little groceries done and, things like that. That's always a good thing to be in walking distance of stuff. I'm kind of big on that. As far as rent goes, this is where people are either shocked and horrified, and they go, Miami is so expensive. Man, LA, it's so expensive. Well, yes and no. On average, up here in Chicago, I've had a two-bedroom apartment for 750, and I stayed in a really good area. I just so happens I just lucked up on a spot in the city that and I have my own parking in back. That's big if you're going to move to a city like Chicago or New York. Parking is not fun, and if you got your own parking spot in the back, you just big pimping. Uh, as those of you that live in the shine know. And I've also lived in the suburbs where I had a one-bedroom luxury apartment for 850. You know, and of course you get it's an apartment complex and whatever. But usually two bedrooms out this way, which I haven't looked for a two bedroom in a while. But you're gonna pay somewhere between, on the low end, 900 a month. I've seen, depending on where you're living at, and anywhere to about 1,500 a month for a two bedroom. Of course, there's stuff way more expensive than that, but I'm just saying on average. And I would really say on average, you should be right around $1,200 a month for a two bedroom, somewhere around 7 or 8 for a one bedroom. Now, for those of you that have really, excellent jobs or careers or whatever, then, pay what you want to pay for rent. But usually the rent thing is a sticker shock. I was talking to somebody who lives in Ohio, and I told him, what I paid for rent. And he's like, "You kidding me? I got a 4 bedroom house for like $1,200 in Ohio." And I'm thinking to myself, wow, a 4 bedroom house for $1,200? And my second thought was, but you're in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in Ohio, then the cost of living there is way, way, way cheaper. So I don't know. It's just some things to think about if you're trying to look for someplace to live. My biggest thing is go to Craigslist. Big on Craigslist. Big, 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 big on Craigslist. A lot of people are advertising apartments and housing and stuff like that on Craigslist. You can go out and actually see it and talk to somebody. I got kind of an advantage in South Florida. I got a friend of mine I know a bunch of real estate people down in Florida. And I got real estate people that are, because I'm not a big person I'm not trying to buy a house. I never was. But I got people that are like, well, yeah, I sell houses, but I know how to, they know how to find places to rent. And they're like, I'll look out for you. That's cool. So yeah, so if you're moving to someplace new, I would say check out Craigslist. I would say see what you want to pay for rent. You got to like the place you live. Oh, and to like Fior, who sent this to me, what places should you not go in Miami? Here's a good rule of thumb for anybody out there. Any place that you can hear in a rap song, stay the fuck away from. That's just kind of a rule of thumb there. If you got a rapper that's rapping some gangster shit and he's telling you blah blah blah, and because for the most part, what do you hear in about South Florida? You hear like Calle Ocho, which is like the Cuban neighborhood. You hear like Little Haiti. You may want to stay away from there. Is it dangerous down there? About as dangerous as any other place. That's why I said you shouldn't be trying to live in the hood. No way. You're going to know where the hood. Well, actually, in Florida, that's not necessarily true because everything is so pretty down there. You will be in the hood and you may not even know it. So, yeah, I guess that's something to be careful of. So, I don't know. Hope this little 2 cents, it wasn't anything important. Just hope it helped out some people. All right. Peace.